Today I fucked up. My wife wants to divorce me because I gave her water from a cup the dog licked. Well, this was something I did months ago and confessed today. Now, my wife is disturbed by my behavior, and she has become paranoid about what I might have done when I got angry at her during a fight or intense argument. We have been married for a year, and before that, we lived together for 2 years with a golden dog. I am a person who hardly gets angry and loses temper. This is because it has been a life experience for me to avoid getting angry or annoyed by most things, since getting angry at most things is not necessarily worth it. I used to get mad frequently, and due to that behavior, I smashed some stuff, prefab walls, doors, keyboards, etc. Rarely glass because it is a pain in the ass to clean up its pieces. Basically, while gaming, if I rage, I smash the desk, wardrobe, or hit walls with a bamboo sword. I used to do kendo, so I have practiced swords at home, but my anger never extends to people. I never lose that sense that I will never touch a person in a raging state unless it is a life and death situation. So, I developed a nonchalant attitude over small fights, mostly ignoring the wife and going for gaming. It was one of those small fights that didn't have reasons worth mentioning, but you know how it is with women sometimes. And there was no PC this time to escape from the Matrix, and I was really annoyed at that moment. My mind was blowing. You could actually see smoke coming out of my head, as if doing heavy physical duty under the sun, and seeing sweat is actually evaporating. It was just like that moment. But well, yeah, what can you do sometimes? After little argue, we sat in living room without saying anything, and I started to swipe reels, read some mangas on my phone, etc. There was almost an hour of silence before I went to the kitchen to grab some drinks. Our dog accompanied me to the kitchen. He must have gotten bored. I can relate. I was checking the fridge for something liquid to cool me down, grabbed juice and cheese, and got ready to turn back to the battlefield after loading up. I put on a sharp face, returned to the battlefield. Long before my respawn, she asked, "Did you bring me anything, lovey?" while putting on her kitten mask, as if she could calm me down. But no, it never works on me when I'm triggered. I only returns to normal state after some time passes. She doesn't have to do anything special but to leave me alone. I didn't reply but looked at her sharp eyes, one eyebrow lifted. She must have understood from my look and asked for a glass of water, maybe, she said. I didn't say anything but sighed angrily. Went back to the kitchen, of course. My comrade followed me up there again. I filled a glass of water and prepared to return to the battlefield yet again. My comrade was looking at me, with tongue is out smiling face. It was one of those moments where a brilliant idea popped into my mind, as if I discovered electricity or something. I let my comrade take a couple of sips of water with his multifunctional tools that he uses in many cases. I returned to the battlefield again, and it didn't actually look like a battlefield this time. It was more like a jackass scene, but more humane, of course. I was smiling, not because I calmed down, but because it was a sweet joke-type revenge moment. She must have thought that everything went back to normal, and that's why I'm smiling, but it was not because of that. I didn't say anything. I gave her the water. After a couple of months, everything was okay, and we were cuddling in a cozy environment. Suddenly, this moment came up to my mind and reminded me of how silly the thing I did was, but I laughed unintentionally. She asked me, "What?" I said never mind, but she insisted on it, and I told her the military service memory. She was in shock, unimaginably overreacting to the story I told her. She didn't want to believe it at first, but I said yes, it was real, and now she wants a divorce because of my acts and is also paranoid about what I might have done in our past arguments. I was at mad my wife because of nonsense argument. She asked a cup of water and I gave her water, but before I let our dog to lick from the cup. Now she wants divorce.
I exposed an affair because it was affecting my sleep. So I'll start with understanding what I did wasn't exactly right. But I regret nothing. My upstairs neighbor is having an affair and it's disrupting my sleep. So I found the wife online and messaged her. Problem solved. My upstairs neighbor has been having an affair with a married man. For months now. I wouldn't care. But because it's an affair, he comes over at odd hours of the night. And they have sex very loudly. I can hear a lot and it wakes me up, prevents me from sleeping. How do I know it's an affair? He's never spent the night and his car has baby car seats in there. Some backstory. I've had issues with my upstairs neighbor prior to this. She would throw parties on Monday nights. She gets home at 2 a.m. from work pacing her condo and having loud phone conversations. She's 40 years old, throwing parties with 200 per and having affairs and living like a teenager. I tried to talk to her like a normal person about my concerns, but she doesn't care, and I've had to get the association involved to stop the parties. I hate her. So I decided to learn some more about this mystery man. I looked up the license plate, found an address, searched the address and found a name. Took the name man, did some social media stalking and found the man and his wife's profiles. I made a throwaway account, messaged the wife about the affair. I haven't seen him now for a few weeks and I'm sleeping really nicely.
My aunt hit my mother, so I dragged her across the floor and punched her till she passed out. My aunt is a poisonous woman. Our whole family doesn't talk to her. She's done things in the past you wouldn't believe. So she left our lives years ago. Recently, she returned out of the blue at my mom's house. My mom has 2 other sisters and a brother. My mom and aunt never got on. My mom is a lovely person, but she could sense from a young age something was off about her sister, so she kept her distance. My aunt was nasty and would hurt people's feelings intentionally for no reason. She never had a partner or kids. She isolated herself from everyone. My gran cut her off when she tried to steal thousands of dollars from her. We all genuinely think there's something physiologically wrong with her. So back to where I was going with this. One morning I was at my mom's house, just chilling out, and there was a knock at the door. So I opened it, and there she was. She walked in. She looked like she had took drugs. She looked dead behind the eyes. I tried to stop her, but she pushed me down. I honestly don't know why she came to my mom's house out of everyone. I quickly got up and she went into the kitchen. She startled my mom and punched her in the face. My mom didn't even have a chance to blink before she hit her. She went down like a ton of bricks. My heart felt like it had been sucked through into my stomach. When I seen it, something came over me. I don't know if it was anger or adrenaline, but I ran up behind her and grabbed her hair, and I dragged her out onto the back lawn, and I bashed her face about 15 times. Blood was everywhere. Thankfully, no one seen me, or I might not have been writing this right now. I got up and I left her there. I went to check my mom. She was in a lot of pain. I looked back out the window, and she was gone. We told our family immediately about this, and they were perplexed and angry as to why she just turned up and attacked my mom. I'm still so hurt and angry as I write this. We told our family immediately about this, and they were perplexed and angry as to why she just turned up and attacked my mom. I'm still so hurt and angry as I write this. I can't get over it for some reason. It just seems so unreal, and there was no reason for the attack. God forbid she had a weapon. That's truly scary to think about. We didn't call the police, as I assaulted her badly and didn't want it to bounce back on me. That's another thing I feel ashamed about. But should I feel bad or not? I need others' opinions, as I've been bottling this up for a while. My gran was devastated. She just wanted her daughter back. But from a young age she took to drugs, spent time in prison, and amount of other things. You can't help someone who doesn't want to be saved.
Found out my dead best friend was in love with my wife. I'm writing this as a confession because I don't know where else to speak about this, and I don't want my kids finding this out on my main account. My friend died a few months back due to heart problems. He was taking care of himself, so it was a shock to everyone, especially his wife, who was with him at their house when he died. Due to this, she decided to move somewhere else, and because she and her daughter were still distraught, she asked me to pack up his stuff. He had some boxes in his basement, and after a while I started feeling nostalgic and decided to look into them. I found pictures of us from when we were kids all the way to before we got married. That was enough to make me feel bad, and I just got back to taping them up. But one of the boxes seemed to be in much better condition, so I decided to check it in case it was something important. To my surprise, I found out pictures of him and my wife from when we used to hang out together, as well as more recent pictures from family reunions. The most recent being from my wife's birthday party. Alongside the pictures there were letters that he never sent her. The first one dated 2 months before I met her. The last one was also the same date of her birthday party. There was one that stood out the most, was one from after I started dating her. He wrote that his time had passed, and since my happiness was as important as his own, he would watch over us. I'll keep his box safe since it isn't my secret to reveal. For more stories, subscribe to our channel and share your opinion in the comments.